As we move into December, it's time to do another round of Championship predictions. We're up to week 19 now, but before we start, I got a little bit of business to take care of. I have to give a big shout out to Claire Cashel. You said if you got the Oxford versus Millwall score right that I should give you a shout out. Well, you bloody nailed it, Claire. Congratulations. A winner is you. I've probably opened the floodgates by doing this. I'm probably going to get bombarded with requests. But regardless, Claire, fantastic job. But predicting a 1-1 draw for Oxford is just something I cannot do, because as we look at the beautiful chaos of the Championship, I only have one rule when we do these predictions, and that is that Oxford always win. Hey, at least we didn't lose last time out, right? Right? Let's do predictions. And we start on Friday night at Turf Moor for a bit of Burnley versus Middlesbrough. Interesting game here. You've got a Burnley side in pretty good form, but aren't exactly the most exciting side in the world, coming up against probably the most, or one of the most exciting sides in the Championship. Burnley's defence is amazing. Only 6 goals conceded this season. They're virtually impregnable at the back. Let's see if Middlesbrough can get them pregnant? Not sure that works. But anyway, let's see if Middlesbrough can crack that nut and score some goals and get that win. Because through all the madness and chaos, that is what I'm going for. I'm going for a Borough victory. They got a nice win at the weekend to shake off that ugly defeat they had against Blackburn. And I think that they're going to cause a bit of a shock up at Turf Moor. I'm going for Burnley 1, Middlesbrough 2. Leeds United versus Derby County, and it is two sides shaking off defeats themselves. Leeds will be wondering how they lost that game to Blackburn. They've had a few games like that this season where they've been completely dominant, but they don't seem to win the game. And in this one, they ended up losing it. So they'll be hurting, they'll be smarting, and they'll be eyeing this Derby County side up as a chance to get an easy victory on the board. It's tough to see Derby going up there and getting anything. A very cruel defeat to Sheffield Wednesday. They were excellent in the first half, didn't kill the game off, and invited Wednesday back into it. And it was a late goal which won it, and it will be Derby fans will be pretty sick at the moment, I would imagine. And this is going to be a really tough game for Derby. There's no two ways about it. And I just see Leeds getting a pretty comfortable win here. I'm going for Leeds United 3, Derby County 0. Sheffield Wednesday versus Preston North End.
Come on, Wednesday!
Come on, Wednesday, indeed. What a fantastic victory they had at the baseball ground. It needed something special after that first half display. But Wednesday are making a bit of a habit of this, aren't they? These last gasp away winners. It makes me worried, considering they're coming to the Kassam very shortly. But Barry Bannon with an absolute screamer, and then they turned up with a last gasp winner as well. But there's something about Wednesday at home, Wednesday when they're playing sides they're expecting to beat, where they just don't seem to be able to get the job done too much at Hillsborough. And I just feel like this is another one where the fans will be expecting a win, expecting a bit of momentum, and poor Heckingbottom side will come there and get something. Because I do think this one's going to end up in a draw. I'm going for Sheffield Wednesday 1, Preston North End 1. Sunderland versus Stoke City, and Sunderland, like Leeds, will be wondering how they didn't win their last match. It was a really, really intriguing game against Sheffield United. I did end up getting the score right, but I'm not sure how Sheffield United won that game, because Sunderland were excellent. They deserved something from it, and they ended up getting nothing. It's not the greatest run of form we're on at the moment, Sunderland fans, so I want to know if there's any nerves in the camp, or whether you're still confident that Regis Labrie can turn this around. And I do think Sunderland will get a victory in this one. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be quite a narrow game up against the Stoke City side that doing pretty well at the moment, but kind of almost like plateauing into the steady Eddie mid-table side you kind of expected them to be. And I just think Sunderland are going to edge a tight game at the Stadium of Light. I'm going for Sunderland 2, Stoke City 1. Cardiff City versus Watford is next up. I'm going for quite a high-scoring draw in this one. I just feel that both sides not bad going forward. Both sides pretty ropey at the back. Watford not so great on their travels, and often they can gift up quite a few chances during the game. So I do just think this one's going to be quite entertaining, but I don't think there's going to be a winner in it. Short and sweet for me on this one. I'm going for a Desmond. I'm going for Cardiff City 2, Watford 2. Hull City versus Blackburn Rovers. Well, Hull are still searching for a new manager at the time of recording this video, who may well be in place by the time you've watched it, but I do not know that information at the moment. And they're really struggling. Really struggling. It was never going to be an easy game for them up at the Riverside, and not surprisingly, they fell to defeat at Middlesbrough, and Blackburn are flying. 2 fantastic victories for them. 1-0 win over the aforementioned Middlesbrough, backed it up with a 1-0 home win against Leeds. John Eustace has got this Blackburn side singing to his hymns. That's a little Christmas pun in there. And they are doing fantastically well. And as I said last week, not only are they good at the back, but they do carry that goal threat. And the way Hull are just feeling sorry for themselves at the moment, I just think Blackburn are going to go there and get the job done. I'm going for Hull City 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. Luton Town versus Swansea City is up next, and Rob Edwards' struggles continue with this Luton Town side. They got beaten at Norwich City. They actually put in a decent display, but Norwich just too hot at the moment and ran away with the game at the end. Swansea are in a bit of crazy form at the moment. They've had some really entertaining games, which kind of curtails what their games have been like for the most part this season. They had a crazy game against Leeds, good win against Derby, and then they had this game against Portsmouth at the weekend where they found themselves 2-0 down, battled back to 2-2, and then how they didn't score a third goal is beyond me. And because they had so many good chances, Portsmouth's keeper had a screamer, and they just could not stick that ball in the back of the net. So frustrating for Swansea fans a little bit at the moment, and I do just feel this one is going to end up with another draw, which isn't really going to be too amazing for either side. Probably Swansea the happier of the two, and I'm going to go for Luton Town 1, Swansea City 1. Millwall versus Coventry City is next up. Both sides coming off draws at the weekend. Coventry now with Frank Lampard in charge, so we can say Frank Lampard's Coventry City, as if Frank Lampard hosts Coventry City. 2-2 draw. So again, not particularly amazing result for Coventry. I'm sure they would have expected more in that one. But Millwall, my goodness, they are every bit the difficult side to play against I thought they were. They were excellent against my Oxford United side. Got the goal, looked for all the money that they were going to win it. They looked rock solid at the back, and I can certainly see why Neil Harris has got this side punching up the top of the league and pushing for a playoff space. But I do just see this one being a bit of a damp squib. I just feel that both sides are going to cancel each other out, and I just feel that this one's going to end up in a bit of a dire 0-0 draw. But this one will be anything but 0-0 as we move to Plymouth Argyle versus Oxford United. Undoubtedly the game of the weekend. I am sure you all agree. We don't have a very good record at home park in recent years, and our away record this season is pretty terrible. So it's a big game for both clubs. And whilst it is a big game for my beloved Oxford United, the mood in our camp has been lifted so much. What didn't take much, I must admit, but that we were pretty dreadful against Millwall. But that wonder goal by Tyler Goodrham has really, I feel, lifted everyone's spirits. And I'm expecting us to go there and give this Plymouth side a pretty good game. But it's a Plymouth side whose confidence is quite low. And it's so weird how different of a team they are when they do play on their own patch. Because away from home, they're borderline useless. Like, they just get drubbed most times they go away. They're not, and it's not even like they lose games. They're pretty pathetic the way they lose. And they're a completely different side when they play at home park. But I do feel this one is a big game for Plymouth, and a big game for Wayne Rooney, where they'll really be expecting to beat this Oxford side. And if Oxford can just go there, quiet the crowd, maybe take the lead, you may see this Plymouth this Plymouth fan base turn on their club. Well, that's what I'm hoping for anyway. But of course, I have to go for the golden rule, and I do think this one's going to be a bit of a cracker. I'm going for a 5-goal thriller, and my beloved Yellows coming out the right side of it. Plymouth Argyle 2, Oxford United 3. Plymouth fans, is that going to be the end of Rooney if Oxford beat you at home park? Portsmouth versus Bristol City is next up, and it's a Pompey side who had a Really freaky game. I've already talked about it, their game against Swansea. They flew out of the traps and got 2-0 lead at half-time. Matt Ritchie in the goals, Josh Murphy in the assists and the goals himself. Whenever Josh Murphy scores or gets an assist, a little part of me just dies a little bit inside. It's very sad for me. But he is looking a quality player for Portsmouth now. Every bit the player that Oxford fans saw last season. And I really fancy Portsmouth to get the job done against this Bristol City side. I feel Bristol City, good win at the weekend, but I just feel Portsmouth are going to be a little too strong at home. I fancy Portsmouth to really start getting some results in their home games now. And I'm going to go for Portsmouth getting the victory. I'm going for Portsmouth 2, Bristol City 1. QPR versus Norwich City. It's a Queen's Park Rangers side that are starting to pick up some points now and starting to catch those teams up above them in and around the relegation zone. But this isn't going to be an easy game for them up against a high-flying Norwich City side who are banging in goals, and they've got Borja Sainz, who looks like he's going to break records at the moment this season with the amount of goals he's smashing in for Norwich. And I could really do with Norwich City absolutely battering the R's in this one, because Oxford go to Loftus Road shortly after this game. And I'm just hoping that it is going to be a bit of a false dawn for QPR. And while they feel they've turned the corner, that Norwich are just going to be too strong for them. And I think that Norwich are going to win this game. I'm going for QPR 1, Norwich City 3. And we end on Sunday with West Bromwich Albion versus Sheffield United. Death, taxes, and West Bromwich Albion drawing games are the 3 certainties in life. It's unreal how many games they've drawn in a row now. Wow. Set your watch by it, because West Brom are going to get a point a game. But I don't back them very often to get these draws. I should do, but I normally don't. But I don't expect this one to be high scoring. It just doesn't ever seem to be when they play at home. Sheffield United, coming off some great form themselves. They're very, very good defensively, don't give very much away, and they find a way to win like they did against Sunderland. You know, man sent off. I know both sides had a man sent off. Gave away a penalty, still came out with a 1-0 victory. So they are so resolute under Chris Wilder that I just think they're going to edge it, and West Brom aren't going to be able to get back into the game. So I'm going for a narrow win for the Blades as they carry on their good form. West Bromwich Albion 0, Sheffield United 1. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is week number 19 in the book. As always, you should take these predictions to the bank and dump a truckload of money on them. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back to do a review of the Plymouth Argyle versus Oxford game on the Saturday, and then there'll be a whole bunch of predictions videos flying at you because we've got another round of midweek madness coming up next week. So thank you once again for watching. Really do appreciate it. Leave your predictions and your comments down below, and I will see you very soon.
My work is done here.
What do you mean your work is done? You didn't do anything.
Didn't I?